Okay, what I'm going to show you today is how to use Lightroom and a little bit of Photoshop to do a little bit of dodging and burning to come up with an image that you like by merging 3, 4, 5, maybe even 7 images together in Lightroom. There are other applications that you could use to do the same thing. I use Aurora HDR also, which I really do like. But for this example, I'm going to show this to you in the event that you don't have any other software application. Many photographers have the photographer package for Lightroom and Photoshop for $10 a month, so I'm going to show you this. Okay, so when I start a bracketed series in the field, I always take a picture of my hand first, and then I will take a picture of it when I'm done, and so that I know that everything in between um, will be part of the series or bracketed images that I want to do. Normally, when there's this much difference in the exposure, I will have 5, maybe even 7 images to try to get a dark enough sky so I could pull something out of it. In this example, only did 3, which I do regret, but the image did come out nice. Playing with it here in Lightroom, it was able to bring it like this and look good. So we're going to take this and you click and you highlight all 3 images. You right click on one of them and you want to go to Photo Merge to HDR. It will then open it up in this dialog, which gives you a few options as you are given to create it. I always select Auto Align. I do not always select Auto Tone. I'll show you the difference as it builds this. Okay, so it created this, and you have, again, you have the Auto Align. You can turn it on or off. It takes a little bit of seconds to undo it. The other option you have here, you could do Auto Tone, which in this case it made it way too bright, so we just turned that right back off. Alright, I will take and we're going to merge this. Okay, so this is what it created. As I mentioned earlier, normally I would have 4 or 5 bracketed stops. I could get much darker in here. So since we don't have that, so let's just start with modifying the image a little bit. I like it a little bit warmer, so we're going to select cloudy, and it's going to warm up the leaves and some of the reflections down here, some of this area here. The next thing is if you hit M, we're going to take and we're going to darken this little section here in the water, and so we're going to do this. I just upgraded Lightroom and it turned all that off. So we're going to darken this up a little bit, drop down the highlights, even get a little more warmth in there. So we're adjusting this just slightly so I don't want it to look overbaked, and so we have this in here. And so I'm going to take this exact same setting and we're going to drag this down for the sky, and we're going to darken this up. Again, I want the focus to be in here. This is where the warmth, I just like this look. The sky, if it had a little bit more texture, it would have been great. So, you can play around a little with this here. Again, I wanted it warm. The reason that I ensure that I use the same one for both is because, again, this is a reflection. This is the sky. This should be reflected, although it could be a little different, but I like them to look very much the same. All right, so at this point, this isn't bad, so we'll turn this off. You could drop down the exposure a little bit, maybe kick up the contrast some as you're going through here. You could drop down a little bit of the highlights as it. And let's do. I don't like all my shadows real bright. There are times that I will have them. Now this section here to me is very bright. Your eye's going to go to it. So you have a couple different things you could do. You could take this. And you could do a radial, and you could darken it up some. It isn't bad. I will stay straight up. I've seen people that are amazing with this in Lightroom. Um, then maybe you could bring something else in here. Drop it down. It isn't bad. What I liked, and then while you're in here, obviously you could play with your contrasts and modify the clarity and dehaze and things like that. But what I'm going to do for this image, for a couple reasons, I am going to take this into Photoshop for a couple reasons. So we are going to go into Photoshop very quick, and maybe you like it just the way it was, and maybe your Photoshop skills are good, but you just don't want to play with this. Okay, so we have it in here. What I do with the O key, now we've got to change this because I was using this as dodge earlier, so I'm going to go to burn. And I'm going to go into the shadows. I really just want to darken this up. I want the eye to come to here. I want this to act more as a frame around it. And so typically, and I have it down to 19. I just have it set there. And just darken this up a little bit. Maybe go into the highlights and try to do something there, midtones. Just darken this up just a slight. This, again, it's a matter of preference. I'm going to take this here and see what kind of midtone we have. Probably looks like more highlights than anything. So we're going to just drop this down so the blend between this is good. We're going to do the same up here. Again, my intent with that is so that the eye goes into this area. If this is too dark for you, go into the dodge tool and go to shadows and maybe select it at 15 and start there just to lighten it up. If this is where you want the eye to focus, you could go in and you could clone some of this stuff out. Just for the sake of this, we're not going to, but I would go in and I would clone these folks out. In the final image I showed earlier, these folks were cloned out. Well, actually not in the final one, the one that I actually published. I cloned them out. And so you could quickly go in, depending on what you want to do with this. If you're going to just put this out on social media, you could do it very quickly like this. But again, it's up to what you want to do. So if you're actually going to publish something with it, more than just social media, maybe you want to make cards, which I really recommend, make some prints and things like that. I would go in and take my time and clone those folks out and just blend this on real nice. I would just take my time with it. So again, maybe in here you're going to go in and say this is still a little too bright for you. Just bring this in and blend this in a little bit here. If this is too bright, anywhere that you see bright, just go in and dodge it. But again, that was very quick on what we have. So there you have it. It looks good. Maybe I'd play a little around with a little bit more, but it was quick way to create an HDR or merge bracketed image from 3 images. So you have it there. 5, 6, 7 minutes it takes to do that. And again, if I were going to do this completely, I would go in and I would clean this piece here up, maybe darken a little bit more of these items. But the focus I had was right in this. The reflection is real nice. Maybe go in and darken this a little bit too. But again, I quickly wanted to show you that this was the one I did earlier. And so each time I do this, which seems to be quite a few times now, it comes out just slightly different, but that's the whole fun about making these types of images. Thank you for watching this video. Stop back for more tips and tricks using Lightroom, Photoshop, Aurora, and many other software applications to enhance your photography. Thank you.